right. Are you ready?
I am ready.
Elbow.
Boom.
Boom. Wait, hold on, watch this. Boom.
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 There
All
you
right.
go.
Here we go.
Hey, what's up, everybody? And welcome to another edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. No, your eyes are not deceiving you. We are back in person.
Woo!
Yeah, at least for this episode. Yeah, we have made the transition from in specific bedrooms on Zoom talking sports to in a car talking sports. So it's a new venue, but we are back in person again. I'm Robbie, as always, along with Kyle. Kyle, it's good to see you, man. It's been a while since we've done this. It is good to be back.
It's amazing. This is awesome. I know we haven't actually had an in-person episode since
March.
Yeah, no, you're right.
March,
mid-March. So it's been 4 months now almost.
Almost, yeah, pretty much. And by the way, we are taking safety precautions. We are fully masked up here, as you can tell. But don't panic. We're not strangers. See, it's just me.
Yep, just me.
But we're very excited to be here. And
this is fogging up.
Oh boy.
Okay, yeah, don't.
And this is a very exciting episode because we are going to delve into Kyle's college track career a little bit here this episode, and coming up actually on the next episode as well. So we are very excited about that, and we are going to begin with Kyle's sophomore season, the 2010 Wheaton College track and field season. So I mean, let me just, since it was your experience, let me turn it over to you, Kyle, to start out with, and just sort of give us some general thoughts and a general sense of what the 2010 track and field season was like from your perspective in what was, like I said, your sophomore year at Wheaton College.
Well, so I will say right off the bat, there was actually a huge change. So for those of you who don't know, I actually did throwing in track. I did a little bit of running here and there in high school, but it wasn't anything really serious or anything. It was during indoor track, but that's a different story. I'll talk about that another time. So I started throwing back in high school, freshman year of high school, did it all the way since. And so when I got to college, we had a throwing coach named Coach Carr. And what happened was, that was the only year I actually had him. He actually, after that, I believe he went out to coach another school. So we actually got a new coach that year. And this was one of my favorite he was one of my favorite throwing coaches of all time. His name was Coach Delgado, and he was incredible. Like, I hadn't known him prior to this sophomore season, but he was amazing. He taught me so much he taught me so much, so many great skills about throwing. He actually was originally from, I believe he coached actually at Bridgewater.
Okay.
And I forget if he had coached there previously, or I think his daughter actually went there at the time. I know he had connections there, so. But nevertheless, he was a fantastic coach, and we pretty much had, for the most part, I'd say the same throwing group as freshman year. My friend Kaylee was back, Leah was back, Tope was there too, or back I should say, because she was also there for freshman year. And I'm trying to remember, and so this is where we met some of our newer friends. We met our friend Sylvia, who ironically has the same first name as who almost has the same first name as my mom. So
there you go.
We met for the most part, we had the same general core team. Because if I remember also, Mike, our other two guys, Mike and Jimmy, who are the javelin throwers, but they also did other running events, I think jumping events too. They did other field events. So we were essentially the core throwing / field team. And it was really great. It was we had such a blast. It was a great year. and so actually, my uncle was the head coach of.
Well, I was gonna say sort of as a follow up because, and you can sort of get into it, but you and your family have quite the connection to Wheaton College track. So sort of why don't you sort of tell? I know you were just sort of starting to, but why don't you kind of just tell people sort of the sort of how deep that connection runs when it comes to your family and Wheaton track.
Yeah, so Wheaton definitely is a big
Wheaton in general, I should say, yeah.
So basically, so my uncle was the head coach of the track and field team for a while, actually. Even he's been for quite a number of years. I want to say definitely over 10 years. I think he was coaching there. And we were Division III school, but we still had a really great track team. I thought we had a really great. It was just a really great program altogether. And also, my two cousins also did track. I had my cousin Miles, who was more of a distance runner, and then my cousin Cameron, who he did the high jump for a while. He did end up quitting a little while after because he did have little problems with his back, which I feel really bad for him. It definitely affected his track career quite a bit in the years to come. But he so it was we definitely had that kind of Wheaton. My family was definitely very connected with Wheaton. So
definitely, and for those of you who don't know, sort of the inner workings of a collegiate track and field schedule, it's basically a lot of like tournaments or style competitions, a lot of multi-team, tournaments, invitationals, whatever you want to call it. So I guess my next question to you from that year is, what were some of the tournaments and some of the memories from meets that sort of stand out to you from that sophomore year? Because just sort of looking down your schedule, there are certainly a lot of events here. So sort of what sort of events, but also just sort of within those events, sort of personal memories for you, achievement wise and stuff like that, sort of stand out to you again, sort of thinking back to that season.
Well, so one of the very first meets that I always think about during my track career altogether, actually, and we've had this one every year at the beginning. This is always like the big start of every year. We always make a huge deal about it. It's the Dartmouth Relays, and the very first. That's smack dab.
In January.
Oh yeah, in January, because we do spend a lot of the winter like practicing. We actually, fun fact. So a lot of times college gets like about a month or so off break. Like we got a couple weeks off break, but then I had to return back in January, so I only got like about a couple weeks in December off. So we got back in January, and I just remember we had this really great we had a great connection with the team, I thought, and it would get to the point where we go back in practice, and then like after we were done with practice, we'd go and play Call of Duty together in like the dorm rooms and stuff like that.
There you go, some nice team bonding. I love it. That sounds awesome.
Oh yeah, it was great. So there was just a lot of during practice, during meets, but also we did a lot of stuff out of the meets. We had track parties. It was great. We even had a track house actually, back in freshman year, which unfortunately we didn't have in sophomore year. But I think we did. My cousin Miles actually, he did have his house, so we kind of used his house. He was like the new track house,
the de facto track house.
Yeah. So it was great. Yeah, we had a bunch of parties, get-togethers, and I made some of my best friends there actually. My friend Kaylee, who I still talk to nowadays. I haven't talked to some of them like Mike, Leah, and Tope, just because they live a little farther away. I know, although Tope actually doesn't live too far. Well, she doesn't live too far away from, I think, Kaylee and everything. But but I sometimes that happens. You lose touch with some of your friends, and it's just how life goes. So yeah, no, I like, but I like. It's just really cool. Like you really meet a lot of great people there. Oh, and I forgot to mention also my friend Sam. That was the first time. I think he was a freshman at the time. Sam, who's also like a fantastic javelin thrower. Like, we had a really great year. So I'm sorry, I got really off topic, didn't I?
That's okay. I love it. No. This is what this is all about right here. So no need to apologize. But yeah,
all right.
I'm curious to hear. I'm waiting with bated breath to hear the what you're about to get into about the Dartmouth relays.
Yes,
so.
the Dartmouth relays. Oh, that was. It was definitely one of the most very iconic meets that we went to because first of all it's in Dartmouth, and I do have a bit of a connection with Dartmouth.
I was hoping you were going to bring that up.
Yeah, of course. Being that my dad went there, he that was his alma mater. So
I love the fact that you say it's a little bit of a connection. It's like
just a little bit,
just a little connection. You're just my father, one of the people that brought me into this earth, happened to go there for college, But really, it's not that huge of a connection,
Not a big deal. It's just like your small connection with BC right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I mean, it's really not a big deal, Not a big deal at all. No big deal. I'm sorry, continue.
No. So, basically, those meets were... So first of all, it's out of all the meets that we attended to, this was the
There's a fire truck
earliest.
going by.
Oh, there is. Oh, there you go. All right. Late show. So it was the earliest meet I remember that I ever had to get up for. I remember having to get up at around maybe I want to say 4:50.
Ooh.
On a Saturday.
Oh my heart. Oh.
Yeah, and this was...
I'm tired just thinking about it. It didn't even involve me, so...
Yeah, it was early as hell. And this is after... Now, mind you, this is after we've been doing, 6 a.m. practices, and this is even, after the fact that, when you're in college, you really don't wake up very early. You
also really don't go
classes.
To sleep that early, too.
No. No. Those days, I was up to, 5 a.m. It was ridiculous. So having to wake up at kind of my bedtime, it was a little bit tricky, but it was a lot of fun. It was very worth it because it was a 3-hour drive to Dartmouth. It took a while, but it's a great campus. For all the times I've been there, whether it's been watching the football games or just walking through just the school itself, it really has a great campus, and the indoor track is one of the best indoor tracks I think I've ever been at. It was just a great experience. It was I feel like that the first meet's always one of the most important ones because you really get to see the whole team function.
Sets the tone for the upcoming season.
Exactly, right? And it was great. It was great as always. I remember going there the year before, and this year was just amazing. It was just a great time. It was great, kind of getting in the swing of things, doing your event, but being in track, you're not obviously gonna be doing your event the whole time because it's a long day. Track meets, for those of you who don't know, literally lasts it's a chunk a day taken up. When you
I've been to a couple of his track meets and he's not lying. It is a long day.
Yeah, it is. It's just the way it is. It's just the meets all the events take a while to do. You got all the pentathletes too that you got to deal with. So it's it's just all this stuff going on. But it's really quite the event because you're always doing better. You're always trying to improve yourself in your own event, whether it's throwing, running, jumping, anything. But you're also there to support your team. You're cheering them on. You're on the sidelines during the races, and during the other throwing events. Even and what was interesting. So my friends Kaylee and Tope. So I'm gonna just give you a quick little backstory. So the thing is, when I got to college, when I first did track and when I first learned about all the events. I was only familiar with the discus and the shot put and the javelin. Because those were the Massachusetts high school events that we did.
True.
But in Rhode Island, they actually, the kids in Rhode Island would be, high schoolers were allowed to do the weight and the hammer throw.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And for some reason in Massachusetts, they just never, I forget if it was, I think it's just illegal or I don't know, they just don't do it for whatever reason. But in Rhode Island, so like that's what they do. So you have these like, so you have these like completely badass throwers like Kaylee and Tope. You come in and they're like, yep, we got this. They pick up the hammer, the weight, and they just throw it like 10,000 feet. I'm like, whoa, okay. So here I am, like, and they're the ones like, and they're 100% like, along with the coach teaching me the ropes, like, of how to do that, because I've never done anything like that. I'm like, it's just like discus, and they're like, well, kind of. So it's it was really great. It was just a great experience with all that. So
cool. And there are a couple of sort of events that I sort of piqued my interest I wanted to ask you about. The first one, you guys actually host an event, the Wheaton Invitational. So just sort of take us through. I know this is sort of a little bit more general stuff here, but just sort of take us through what it's like to be able to host an event, on campus.
Yeah, it's honestly it's a lot of fun. It's really cool to. It's because it's the only home meet that we have. It's an event that what I really like about it is it's we go into the Haas Athletic Center, so that's like the indoor track, and when we host the meet, it's just really cool. It's just kind of like it's kind of a nice feeling where you get up and you're like, oh, I don't have to take the bus to this one. I can just kind of walk over there. I mean that was a really great part of it, I just love like using like our circle there. Like we did actually have to so the indoor track didn't really have a throwing circle, so it has a track, it has like the line, like the spots where you put the high jump and everything, but we had to actually carry our that was one of our like throwing traditions, where we carried our own like throwing circle, so we'd like lift it up and and we put it in like
participants and setup crew at the same time.
Exactly. And one of the cool things about that meet actually is so you can actually participate in it even if you've graduated from the college. So that's why it's cool, because you can because I think that's the whole point of like the invitational. So they invite you to even if you're not on a track team, you can come in and you can participate in an event. And it's really cool that way. And I was actually thinking for a while of actually going back and doing that, but I hadn't gotten the chance to do that recently. But obviously with everything going around, it's going to be a little tricky to do that for a little while. But it's something to look for in the future. So if you guys graduate from Wheaton or any of your colleges and you really still want to do track, even just for fun, you're not looking to improve your score, or I think that's a great way to get back into it. So.
And then the second one was you actually got to, there was actually one event that was held at a very familiar venue from back in our high school days. That was the Reggie Lewis Center. Hosted an event I'm seeing this year. So what was it like to sort of be back in the Reggie Lewis Center after so many times in high school going there?
Oh, it was phenomenal. It felt really cool, because that's the only place where I'm like, I know this place. Yep, I know where to go. Yep, I knew exactly.
I know where this is. I know where this is. I know where this is. There's Duncan's over there.
It was just like it literally just felt like kind of like deja vu in a way, like except it was just cool though, because now I'm like experiencing it with my college friends. I'm like, yeah, this is so cool.
This is where I threw that discus, threw that ball in high school and blah 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 blah. And that's pretty. I can imagine that would be very nostalgic.
Yeah, and what was cool, like a nice added layer to that too, was actually when I got to learn how to throw the hammer a little more. It was kind of nice actually throwing the hammer there this time, or I should say the weight. The hammer is the outdoor version of it. The weight. So for those of you who don't know, the weight is basically you pick up this like really heavy, like it's like a big ball like wrapped in it's just like a really heavy ball with like a strap on it. So what you gotta do is you gotta swing it over your head and see how far you can throw it.
And try not to hit yourself in the head.
Yes, yep, that was me many times, especially with a hammer. Oof. But it was, oh man, it was great. It was great, kind of going back with like just all that in mind. So yeah.
All right. So the last couple of questions that I have nothing to do with this schedule.
Oh yeah.
My first one, and is, and I don't know how much specifically you remember about, but what do you remember being your best personal performance from a meet that season?
Personal performance. That's a good question. So that was definitely an interesting year. I was the type of person that never really liked to miss practice. Like whenever there was practice, unless I was like super sick or anything like that, I always really tried to show up and tried to improve.
Of course.
But I think the meet. Actually, can I see that for a second? That might be a little bit of a guide.
I must say it was kind of fun to like look at some of the results of these meets and see your name on like the result sheet. So I was like, wait a minute, I know that guy.
Oh, I gotta look that up too. That's pretty amazing, actually. I think actually the Dartmouth relays were probably the meet where that was one of the meets where I think I kind of, or the practice really kind of like helped me out, and I think that was the one where I really kind of started to see some improvement. At least I think that was the one for this year. I might be getting this year and junior mixed up. There's so many meets you got to keep track of. And
believe me, I get it. Just looking at that schedule, I understand.
Oh yeah. The only thing is, that's right, the armory. That's right. I forgot the track team went to the armory. For some reason, the throwers never went to the armory. Only certain team members, or I think it was only like the runners that went to the armory for whatever reason. But no, I remember. I think I really, the Dartmouth relays were kind of like they set the tone. I actually no, you know what? I think for this year, I didn't do quite as good as I expected. Because it was the first meet, so I was kind of like, that really did kind of set the tone for me, because I wanted to really try to get better and better as the year went on. I think also the Harvard and the BU meets, I think that one was where I kind of got a little bit better here and there.
Nice.
Like I saw farther throws in the shot put and the weight and stuff like that. So yeah.
All right, and then my last question about that year is, I know you kind of talked about your friends on the team, some of your teammates there earlier. Are there any other teammates, especially the seniors from that year? Because obviously, seniors are a big part of any team. So are there any, sort of seniors, or just even any just other teammates in general that you haven't mentioned yet that you sort of remember as being, big impacts on the team or you, during that season?
Oh man, I mean, I felt like I was really tight with everyone, whether it was the boys or the boys and the girls track team. I felt like we all got along really well.
That's good.
And especially with so for seniors specifically, obviously my cousin Miles. I always got along with Miles. And this other guy, his name was Merzudin. He was a fantastic dude. And he was actually the one I played Call of Duty with a lot. In the dorms. And
there you go.
We were like the ultimate team in that game, and but he was he was, I believe, if I remember correctly, I believe he was one of the sprinters there, and he was a really damn good sprinter. I remember like I was pretty I was pretty buds with him, and and it was sad to see my friend Mike and Jimmy. It was their last year there, so I was. It was sad to see them go, after that. And they were really, really great friends. I knew them since freshman year, obviously, and I remember we always used to go to the track parties too. So I don't know. I feel like we were all pretty tight with,
Nice. And then so yeah. I mean, that kind of wraps up, the 2010 Wheaton men's and women's track and field season. Definitely nice and nostalgic to go down that route. And like I said, we're going to sort of dive into other track seasons of Kyle's coming up here in the next few episodes, so stay tuned for that. So we'll kind of transition now into sort of the end portion of our show.
And quick mention, I forgot actually.
Sorry.
One of my biggest memories too. So that was the one year I also got the coaches award.
Oh, nice. Oh, okay, yeah, that's pretty big. Yeah.
So
that's pretty big. Yeah.
So to throw it out there, believe it or not, it's actually there is still a plaque there at Wheaton with my name on it apparently. So I'm just like, oh, okay.
There you go. Well, congratulations.
I never expected to ever get those. So
congratulations.
Thank you.
No, that is awesome. That is a very remarkable achievement. All right, so like I said, we're going to sort of start to transition here to the end portion of our episode, and I'm going to start with my final thought because the Patriots, in sort of a down sort of news cycle in terms of sports these days, the Patriots actually made a pretty big splash a couple days ago by signing Cam Newton. Which I am very excited about. Cam Newton, for those you don't know, is a former MVP and appeared in a Super Bowl, and he's battled some injury issues the last couple of years, but if he can sort of come back healthy and play the way he's capable of playing, he could be a very big help for this team. And so I think it was a really good pickup by them. It's going to make training camp, it's sort of the quarterback competition with him and Jared Stidham, very interesting to watch here coming up whenever NFL training camp opens. But just sort of wanted to mention that I'm I was very pleasantly surprised that they actually made that move. So Bill Belichick sort of pulling a rabbit out of the hat again and signing Cam Newton to the Patriots. So that's very exciting. Like I said, sort of in this sort of downtime of sports news, and I did just want to throw in, if I can do a part two, I just want to sort of throw in, this is not really sports related, but yesterday, some sort of brightness in the dark, so to speak. Massachusetts, for the first time since March yesterday, had no new reported deaths from COVID-19. So obviously it was just one day. There were back to being some today, unfortunately, but to actually see that zero number, for new deaths, it sort of goes to show that, no matter how frustrating it might be, and it's been very frustrating, there's no question, these last few months have been extremely hard. Hence, the fact that, we're wearing masks and not filming indoor, not filming, in our houses. It's been tough, but what we're doing to try to, it is working. It may not seem like it at times, but it is working, and we actually, are sort of living in a state that has the lowest sort of percentage of positive cases in the country, and I think it's just a testament to the fact that, we're strong people, and we come together, and even one apart, and do the right things. And so I just wanted to say to everybody, keep fighting the good fight. We're doing great, and we should be proud of what we've done so far, and we should just remember that we're all in this together. So I just thought that was some good news, like I said, sort of to sprinkle in what has been very, very tough times.
Nice.
So now, speaking of good stuff, I'm going to turn it over to my good pal Kyle here for his weekly edition of the Sue's Reviews. So Kyle, take it away, my friend.
All right, so this is actually going to be a part 1 of 2. So
okay.
I wanted to go on the theme of time travel because for some reason that's just been a huge thing in media recently. And so I'm going to talk about a time travel TV show today, and then next time we film the episode, for our next episode, I'm going to talk about a time travel video game. So,
all right,
figure I kind of jump across different medias. jump.
Jump around.
Hey, I can turn the music on that.
No.
Okay. But
I'm already embarrassed enough head just going through that.
You loved it.
I did love it. It was awesome. You can't see underneath, but I did love it. Yeah. All right, go on.
But so I was gonna start off with this TV show that's been on Netflix. I forget if I don't think I've talked about this one yet. And if I have, just let me know in the comments. Just stop me right here. Just go back in time and stop me. No, okay. So I want to talk about this series called Dark. It's a series that's all in German. So yeah, there's gonna be subtitles. I mean, you can watch it with the English dubs, but personally, I'm more of a subtitle fan. I just like hearing the original actor's voice. That's just more of a preference of mine. But you know, everyone has their thing of when they watch it. But either way, no matter how you watch it, I suggest to just watch it because it is a hell of a good show. It's a show that all I'm gonna say is yes, because I've already kind of told you it does have to do with time travel, but I'm not going to say anything more past that because all you got to know is when you go in this show, it starts off with these teenagers. They're in school, and these weird things are going on in their small town. So it's kind of like an ensemble show. So there's a lot of different perspectives, a lot of different characters you got to keep track of, and that's one of the only kind of downfalls of the show. There's so many characters and it does get very confusing. It's a show you really have to pay attention to, but if you can get past that, you're in for a treat. There's only 3 seasons, and I want to talk about it actually now because the 3rd season actually just came out on Netflix.
Okay.
So yeah, if it's just a really all you need to know. I'll do a quick synopsis. So basically, these teenagers in high school, they go in the woods and they this one character's younger brother goes missing when they approach this cave. They see a cave and they're like, what's going on? And then something weird happens, but they don't really see anything, but they notice there's something off about this cave that's in the town deep in the woods. And all of a sudden, yeah, the younger brother goes missing, and his name is Mikkel. And so that's what kind of jump starts this whole mystery. You're wondering, oh, what happened to this kid? What's going on? And there's just a whole lot to this show that kind of like it starts off very vague, but then it slowly unravels like what's going on. And even by the 3rd season, you're just like your mind is blown at this point because there's so much stuff going on, like so many layers and all these characters, like, and it's a very, yeah, like I said, it's a very confusing show. Lots of names you got to keep track of, like in Game of Thrones. But if you can get past that, you're in for a great time. It's a great sci-fi show, so
cool.
Don't miss it.
Well, thank you, Kyle, as always, and can't wait for part 2 next week.
Oh yeah, into the video games.
All right, so that is going to wrap up this in-person. Wow, I can't speak. This in-person edition of On a Couch Talking Sports. Hope you guys can understand us through these masks and that we weren't just talking garble here for the last like 20 minutes. But anyway, until next time, thanks as always for watching. Stay safe, stay healthy. He's Kyle, I'm Robbie, and signing off here from the car for On a Couch Talking Sports. See you, everybody.